My wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, which I happily agreed to by supporting her solely on my income, but she changed her mind and said she only wants to be a mom to our biological kids first, not to my kids from a previous marriage, and now I don't want to support her anymore. Posted by you/live_point_hello. I, 35M, have been with my wife Allie, 37F, for 2 years, married for 1, and we are expecting our first child together in a few months. I also have 2 children, 8M and 6F, from a previous relationship with Alex, 32F, and we have 50-50 custody. However, Alex travels a lot for work, so we have the kids more than that most of the time. We get child support from her. Before we got married, Allie and I spoke extensively about what we wanted, and she was adamant about being a stay-at-home mom. I was upfront with her that I was fine with that, we'd be able to afford it, but she would need to be a stay-at-home mom for all of the kids to be able to make it work. She agreed happily. So, as you can probably predict, she sat me down the other day and told me that she wants, at minimum, her first year as a mom to only be a stay-at-home mom to our shared baby. She said after that she can help out more with the other kids, but wants to protect her first-time motherhood and said it's her #1 boundary. I told her that would no longer work. I couldn't support a family of 5 on just my salary without help with all of the kids. She said I needed to figure it out and respect her boundaries, but this simply won't be possible. We have family to help for sure, but she's saying she doesn't want to be responsible for the older kids at all the first year. Also, we want at least 1 more child, and I'm now worried she'll try to extend the year with another baby. She's incredibly hurt and angry, but I don't think it would even be possible to respect her boundaries. So, would I be the jerk for reneging on my promise to let her be a stay-at-home mom? Quick edit, my ex-wife will be keeping the kids for 2 weeks after birth and has been able to be assured she wouldn't travel for that first month unless emergencies come up. I am also paying the person I currently am who picks up, watches, drops off, etc., the kids before and after school an additional 4 weeks after Alex already has them for 6 full weeks off from any older kid duties for Allie. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Not the jerk. Your kids are in school most of the day Monday through Friday, I'd assume. That gives her 9 months to have the days with her baby, and in the evenings and on weekends, she'll have your help. But I'm more concerned about the dynamic she's setting up. Her baby versus your kids. Your children will feel this dynamic very deeply, if they don't already. She will make them feel like outsiders in their own home. She will make them feel like this baby isn't really their real sibling. This has disaster written all over it, and you need to shut this down immediately. You're headed for another divorce, I'm afraid. Her mask has slipped. Ops response. I agree. It's so far out of left field. She loves the kids, and they love her. She always loves doing things with them and planning activities. I wouldn't have married her if she didn't like them. Commenter 2. Aren't the older 2 in school? So, realistically, she would have the entire school day with just her and the baby. She's being ridiculous. She can either enjoy several hours each day alone with her kid and parent her stepchildren after school as agreed, or she can put her baby in daycare and miss out on all those hours while she gets a job. Ops response. Yes, but they'd need to be taken to and picked up from school, and taken to their activities while I'm at work. I currently pay somebody to do this, but with a new baby and without her salary, I won't be able to. Edit, stop asking about buses. This is a private school, no buses. Last edit, my ex pays for the school tuition, and I would never take my kids out of a school they love just so she could be a stay-at-home mom to 1 out of 3 kids. Commenter 3. She needs to see the math and know that what she wants is not possible. She also needs a dictionary, because that's not a boundary, it's a demand. A boundary is not something that can dictate anyone else's behavior. Ops response. Yes, I have shown her the numbers, but she wants me to make it work. Additional information from Op. Just a quick note, Alex pays me child support. She makes quite a bit more, and since she travels so much, I always agree to have the kids if she's not in town during her parenting time. Once or twice I haven't been able to, so either her husband or my parents have taken them. Update 2 days later. I posted on another sub, but they locked and removed it for violating a rule that, honestly, I don't think it did. So YOLO. You can find the other post on my profile, but the gist of it is that my wife Allie and I had multiple discussions about her being a stay-at-home mom to our future kids in addition to my 2 kids from my previous marriage to Alex. However, she recently told me that she wanted the first year of our upcoming baby's life to be just a stay-at-home mom to the baby, and I told her that wouldn't work for me or our budget. I talked to Allie and laid everything out. I told her that her demands were out of line and incredibly entitled, and that if she insisted on keeping them, I was no longer comfortable with her quitting her job and would not support it. Further, 2 weeks without my kids was ridiculous, so I told her that if she went into labor during our custody time, my parents would have the older kids when we were in the hospital, but I am no longer comfortable sending my kids away to their moms for 2 weeks. Other families don't normally do that, and I would not either. But, for the first 2 months of us having the baby, I would keep paying the nanny and take care of the older kids' things, which is longer than I had originally agreed. Honestly, it was also more than she'd even originally agreed to, so I thought it was a fair compromise. She lost her mind and flipped out at me, told me that I wasn't respecting her first-time motherhood, WTF, and that she shouldn't have to care for kids I didn't give birth to for the first year of her baby's life. I was honestly over it at this point and done arguing. I told her she needed to check herself and that none of this was new or a surprise. If she didn't want to do it, she shouldn't have agreed to it, and her being a stay-at-home mom was off the table. To be clear, I know I could make it work with just my salary. But it would mean taking the funds I would allocate toward her fun money for things like shopping, self-care, etc., and I'm not comfortable telling an adult dependent on me financially that she couldn't have a choice for fun money. I showed her the budget, which backfired because she said that I didn't need to defund her fun money and gave me a few solutions, which were, take the older kids out of private school and ask my ex to give us that money and child support instead. Stop putting money into my older kids' college fund. Sell my boat. Those were her solutions. None of which have her sacrificing anything, only me and or my kids. And the first one was so unreasonable I could only imagine how that conversation with my ex would go. She'd laugh me out of the country, lol. I told Allie all of that was unreasonable and a non-starter, and honestly just made me see where her priorities are. So yeah, I told her that if she couldn't agree to common sense compromises, I could no longer trust her to be a stay-at-home mom to our older kids. That there was zero daylight in how much I cared about my older kids versus our shared baby, and I had to protect them both equally. The fact that she thought it was reasonable to stop saving for my older kids' college while still giving her money for Botox and highlights showed me where her priorities would lie if she no longer brought an income. I said I was no longer comfortable with her quitting her job, and that since my work has, not free but heavily reduced, daycare on site, that would be the best option for our family after her FMLA leave. She doesn't get paid maternity leave, just unpaid up to 3 months, which will be fine. She's devastated and being cold toward me, but surprisingly not my kids, which is good. I don't want to kill her dreams of being a stay-at-home mom, but I can't work with someone who refuses to be reasonable. We discussed it with our therapist last week, who wasn't exactly on my side, obviously, but was trying to point out the unfairness. She just keeps saying she needs me to prioritize her needs and boundaries. The therapist even tried explaining that these are not boundaries, but she's not listening. Edit to add one quick thing, I've known Allie since freshman year biology. We never dated until a few years ago, but we've always remained friends. I have known her, and this behavior is also new. She loved being a bonus mom, would be excited for the kids to come over for extra time, and would even ask me to ask my ex if she could have them randomly if she wanted to take a day off and go swimming or to the zoo or something. I've asked her to talk to her doctor about this, and she's yelled at me about it. I have no clue what to do. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Please go see a lawyer and figure out how to protect yourself, and maybe consider putting other college funds into a trust so they can't be touched, etc. She is going to stay home with the baby no matter what and will start rejecting your biological kids when she doesn't get her way. Ops response. My kids' college and savings are in trusts. We had a prenuptial agreement as well, so I'm not too worried about it. Commenter 2. Looks like divorce number 2 is fast approaching. Ops response. I'm hoping to avoid that. She's never been like this, and it's so far out of the norm I even asked her to talk to her doctor about it, but she thinks she's just being reasonable and setting boundaries. Commenter 3. Please check in with your older children regularly to ensure that her behavior towards them has not changed when you are not present. Ops response. That's the thing. She's still wonderful to them. They see a therapist as well, just monthly, since the divorce we wanted to make sure they were okay. And it's like when they're not around, she's a different person. It's hard to explain how it's such a reversal to people who don't know her, but she was so lovely with them until she got pregnant. Commenter 4. Not the jerk. I have a blended family, have a baby and 2 stepdaughters with my husband. Not even for 1 minute after I gave birth did I bar my stepdaughters from being here, nor would I ever do so. This is as much their home as it is mine or my son's. She is being very unreasonable. You are offering viable, common sense solutions and honestly being very generous with fun money. I've never been a stay-at-home mom, but I would be gracious. I hope for your sake this is just hormones. But I'm also pregnant and know when my hormones are getting the best of me. Hope you guys work this out. She sounds very selfish. When you marry someone with children, you kind of lose the option to be a one-child parent your first go-around. She should take your feelings and care for your older children as a good sign that her baby will be well cared for by you. Ops response. This is how she used to talk. She is weirdly still excited about the kids meeting the new baby but keeps talking about bizarre boundaries. You seem like a good stepmom. I know it's probably not an easy thing, and I tell her that all the time. Luckily, our blended family has had no drama until this. My ex and her husband have been very supportive of us having more kids and have been willing to help, but she keeps saying they need to do more. Commenter 5. What is the compromise you are willing to make for your wife so she can have your baby and have some bonding time with the three of you? You seem very intent on not making any compromises. Ops response. I have made many. I fund much more of our life. I'll be cutting my own spending money and have been since we found out we're expecting, and have quit 2 hobbies of mine due to the money and time commitment. What more do you want me to do, other than apparently stop caring for my older children? Commenter 6. I don't think this is a matter of putting her first above your kids. I would never put my new partner above my kids, but the truth is, my partner has a kid, and he is not responsible for my kids. He gets along with them and loves them, but it simply isn't close to how he loves his kid. The ferocity of feelings about a new baby is intense. That's why I try to offer insight into what she is thinking and feeling. Again, I am not saying the solution is to not save for your kids' college. That's not my point. My point is, she is looking at a situation of being the only mom to a baby. That's something you can sympathize with, and that sympathy might help her feel like you understand. She is going to be a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids, which is more than most first-time moms have to deal with. You chose to have another family, so the demands are more on you. How can you force her to work? How would that realistically happen? Use your paternity leave to take on the brunt of the caretaking for your kids before you go back to work. What does her being a stay-at-home mom to your kids look like? They are older and more independent. But does she have to drive them around? Prepare meals? Perhaps there are ways you can help that feel less overwhelming. Maybe you meal prep on the weekends so dinner isn't overwhelming. This kind of stuff. Ops response. That's the thing. She doesn't want me to focus on the older kids when I'm on paternity leave, she wants me to only focus on her, which is why she doesn't want them here. Obviously, I would be here for her and the baby, but that request is outlandish. I've already outlined what being a stay-at-home mom to all 3 kids would look like numerous times, but yes, it would involve transportation when I'm working. We split cooking pretty equally, and I like cooking, so that wouldn't have been an issue. I also do most of the cleaning of the house. It doesn't matter, because the option for her to be a stay-at-home mom is off the table due to her antics. She's broken my trust. I know I can't force her to work realistically, but if she were to quit her job without us coming to an agreement, I would be filing for divorce. She's already broken my trust, but that would 100% destroy it.